About 35 years ago, when I came in to be Mashgiach into the Medrash, I'm not the acting Mashgiach now, but then I started saying a shir on mitzvahs, and I used the Sefer Charedim as the launching pad, because Sefer Charedim has a Sefer on the Taryag mitzvahs. There are Rishonim who wrote in the Taryag mitzvahs. You have the Rambam and the Sefer mitzvahs curtains, Gadol, you have the Chinuch, but they go according to the Seder of the Torah, or according to topics. But the Sefer Charedim did a very original thing. He arranged the mitzvahs according to the Eiverim, to the organs of a person's body, starting with the head, and then the heart, and then the other Eiverim. There are mitzvahs that are totally bereish. And of course, V'gisi b'yayim v'layla, Torah is bereish. There are mitzvahs which are beleiv. Tefillah is beleiv. The Gemara says, "Alavdei b'chol levavichem zu tefillah." Every Eiver has its mitzvah. Like the Shulchan Aruch says, that you have to learn Krishma and know that there are Ramach Teves, 248 words in Krishma, and each one of these 248 words is the source of life, of neshamadika life, to one of your Eiverim. And with learning Krishma, we're mekabel oil malchus shemayim over all our Eiverim. Every Eiver is mekabel oil malchus shemayim to function and the way the Rabbi Yisroel wants it to function, and to do the Rabbi Yisroel's ratzon. But in general, there are many Eiverim that are the main Eiverim for a grouping of mitzvahs. Like the leiv is one of the Eiverim of a person, but the leiv also has a group underneath it. All the mitzvahs that are totally beleiv, all the mitzvahs that have a shaykhis with emotional avdus to the Rabbeinu Shalom, like tefillah, dveikus b'at Hashem, uvay sidbak, such mitzvahs are beleiv. To ahavas Yisroel, v'havta l'reacha kamoicha, ahavas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ahavas HaTorah. Such mitzvahs, emotional mitzvahs, are under the jurisdiction of the leiv, besides the very specific mitzvah of the Ramach Eiverim, which the leiv is in charge of. So there are mitzvahs that are totally bereish, mitzvahs that are totally beleiv, mitzvahs that are totally b'yadayim, b'raglayim, mitzvahs that are totally b'peh, b'yainayim, and so on. So the Charedim arranges the mitzvahs according to the Eiverim, and he starts off with a leiv. The first mitzvah in the leiv is Emunah, to believe in the Rabbi Yisrael. So about 35 years ago I started teaching the Sefer Charedim, and as we learned the mitzvahs, we learned them more be'iyun, came to a point where we just covered several mitzvahs a hozman. I made notes of my shiurim, And then, as I added more notes, I was able to teach less and less mitzvahs. Until it came to a point where I just taught one mitzvah, the mitzvah of Emunah, from the Yom Kippurim Zad, Yom Kippurim Abalein Olatay, the entire year. And the year isn't enough. Emunah is the yesod of all the mitzvahs. A person can think, I believe in Rabbi Moshe Wolfson. Yeah, what's more to it? No, there's a lot to it, very much to it. As you are, Emunas Yisrael, going to find out in the course of our sessions. Talking about Emunah is a very important thing. Yirmiyahu Hanavi musars the Yidden, and he says, Avda ha'emunah, their emunah is lost. Nichrasa mipihem. They don't talk about it. You're supposed to talk emunah. You're supposed to keep on fortifying your emunah. You're supposed to keep on giving extra nutrition to your emunah. The pasuk says in Tehillim, Shchan eretz ure'ei emunah. Raise your emunah. Give it food. Give it its nutrients. Emunah is something that has to be fortified constantly. Just like in Gashmias, we can't say I'm going to eat breakfast and that's going to last me my whole life. No, you have to eat breakfast over and over and over again, every day. The same thing with emunah. You have to fortify your emunah, because so many miniyas, there's opposing factors that challenge your emunah, that you, especially nowadays, that you always have to fortify it. So we have to talk a lot about emunah. As I gave the series of these shiurim, the Bachrim listened. Some had a tendency to listen more attentively, some less attentively. And then I met these Bachrim later on in life, 10 years after, 20 years after, 30 years after. And they thanked me for the shiurim and emunah, that because when you go into life, you're going to find that your emunah will be challenged. And you have to be prepared. You have to be equipped. You should know what you should answer to the apikairis. And the apikairis isn't that the one facing you. The apikairis can be within one's heart, chas v'shalom. And he has to know how to maintain his emunah in good working condition. These younger lights, or even middle-aged men, they thanked me for the shiurim and emunah, because when nisyanos came up, they were able to face these nisyanos and be victorious. Oh, in their milchama with these nisyanos, but they were equipped with the inyanim of emunah. The mitzvah of emunah is the first one. Every mitzvah is written in the Torah. What are mach mitzvahs hasay and the shasa mitzvahs loisasa we have in the Torah. It's the first one of the Aseres HaDibros, which makes us understand that it's the most important mitzvah. And therefore the Charedim starts off not with the head, but with the heart. And the first mitzvah, which is Tuluya B'Leiv, is Emunah. The first one of the Aseres HaDibros is to believe in the Rabbi Moshe Wolfson. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, asher hotzeicha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeis avadim. This is the mitzvah of Emunah, to believe in the Rabbi Moshe Wolfson. We fortify our mitzvah min haTorah twice a day. by saying Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And it's a very important Kabbalah's Ol Malchus Shemayim, and the Chachamim added another 2 times. Krishma and the Karbanis, and Krishma and Krishma Shalamita. So we say Shema Yisrael 4 times a day. In addition, the Chachamim were Mesakein to say Shema Yisrael a 5th time on Shabbos and Yom Tov by Haitzat Sefer Torah. Maybe at a later time I'll explain B'Lineida why we say Shema Yisrael by Haitzat Sefer Torah. The mitzvah of Emunah already has a machlokes between the Rambam and the Ramban. The Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, the Yad HaChazaka, and the Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman. The Rambam counts the mitzvah of Emunah as one of the Taryag mitzvahs. Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. The Ramban says, no, it isn't one of the Taryag mitzvahs, because it's superior to the Taryag mitzvahs. It can't be included in the Taryag mitzvahs. It's higher than the Taryag mitzvahs. It's the Yesod, the foundation of the Taryag mitzvahs. If you believe in the Rabbeinu Shalom that there is a mitzvah, a commander, then you can keep his Taryag mitzvahs, the commandments. But first you have to put down a Yesod, that there is a Rabbeinu Shalom, and you believe in him. And he's being mitzvah you to keep the Torah. After you have Emunah, it's a prerequisite, it's a t'nai to start keeping the Taryag mitzvahs. Because if somebody keeps the Taryag mitzvahs without Emunah, he has no mitzvah. Then he's a misasik. He doesn't have any mitzvah. If somebody gives tzedakah, but he's an apikoyres, he hasn't got the mitzvah of tzedakah. Because the mitzvah of tzedakah is to give tzedakah because the Rabbeinu Shalom told you to. But if he doesn't believe in the Rabbeinu Shalom, he's giving charity but is not giving tzedakah. It's not the mitzvah. So Shema Yisrael, the Ramban says, is not one of the Taryag mitzvahs, but it's the t'nai, the prerequisite, the yesod, the foundation of the Taryag mitzvahs. If you believe in the Rabbeinu Shalom, then I have Taryag mitzvahs for you. L'cha'ayre, it seems on the surface that the Ramban is right, because a mitzvah, as translated, is a commandment. And it has to be written in a form of command, like every other mitzvah is written in the form of a command. There's a mitzvah to make kiddush on Shabbos, so the Torah says, "Zocher es yom Shabbos." You should utter words about Shabbos, the kaddish, about the kedusha of Shabbos. And that's the mitzvah of Kiddush, and we finish off, Baruch Hashem, Mekadosh HaShabbos. You should do it. Do. Or, if you build a house, make a fence on your roof, so that nobody should be hurt. Vasisa, you shall do it. Or don't. Lo yisaychal kol ta'eva. Don't eat anything that's treif, that the Rabbeinu Shalom despises. Ta'eva. Lo yisaychal, don't eat. The mitzvahs are do or do not. But the mitzvah of Emunah is not written in such a form. It's not written in the form of do or do not. It's a statement. It's Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. It doesn't say, Tamen, you shall believe, She'anochi Hashem Elokecha. It's a statement which makes us incline to the Shita of the Ramban that it's not in the cheshbon of the Taryag mitzvahs. But the Rambam is the Rambam, and we have to try to verantworten the Rambam. So, try. With some Hagdamas. We know that Toyolados are like the others. Generally, we're in Bavakama last year, right? So we say Toyolados say and Kayaytzabahem. Toyolados, the offspring, is like the others. So let's say the parents have black hair. The children will have black hair. If they're blonde hair, the children will have blonde hair. Blue eyes, the children will have blue eyes. These are traits which are hereditary. It goes b'Yerusha. Then there are traits which aren't hereditary. They are external traits that come from the outside. Like, for instance, if you learn a Balat in Bava Metzia, and you know that Balat, so that doesn't mean that your child is going to be born knowing Bava Metzia. This is an acquired quality. You get it from the outside. It isn't part of you. Knowledge is something which is acquired. The color of the hair is something which is hereditary. You get it b'Yerusha. However, there are certain hereditary knowledges. There are certain things that go b'Yerusha which are knowledge. Knowledge goes b'Yerusha in the Rabbi Shalom's world. A bee makes a hive. Did you ever see it? It's a wonderful structure, and with tiny chambers, thousands of chambers in the honeycomb, and it's a marvel how the bee makes such a structure. I couldn't do it. Maybe if I go to engineering school, I'd be able to duplicate it. But I don't know how to make that structure. It should be so perfect and so fitting, and a bee knows how to do it. Now, a bee lays an egg, and out of that egg comes another bee. And that bee, when it matures, also makes a honeycomb, this hive. Nobody taught it how to make it. How does a bee know? The mother didn't teach the offspring how to build. A beaver builds a dam in the pond. A beaver, a small little tiny beaver which is just born, if I would isolate it and put it into a little cage, and when it matures, I'd throw it into a pond, that beaver would build a dam. Whoever taught it? It's a feat of architecture. How does a beaver know how to build a dam? How does a spider know to make a web exactly in the same design as its mother did? It never saw its mother. The Torah says there are certain knowledges, intelligences, which are b'Yerusha. They're hereditary. They come down in a hereditary way. We are going to say, and we'll elaborate on that in Hashem, that an Emunah by a Yid is a hereditary trait. A Yid believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom by instinct. It's a knowledge that a Yiddish neshama has because it's born a Yid. You have kashas on that, I know. We're going Be'ezer Hashem to answer these kashas. But generally, a Yid is born with Emunah. Every Yid believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom, whether he says so or not. Every Yid's neshama who was standing on the Har Sinai remembers how he heard on the Har Sinai, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Whether consciously his fleshy brain remembers or not, but the neshama remembers. His subconscious remembers. Every Yid believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom. The Rabbeinu Shalom created the world in 7 days in the Yeshivas Yemei Bereishis. But last week, when we read the account of Brias HaOlam, we came to Vayechulu, and right after Vayechulu, we're finished with Yeshivas Yemei Bereishis. It says, Eile Toledais HaShamayim v'Ha'aretz v'Hibarim. And Rashi says, v'Hibarim b'Diyaisi is b'Avraham. Because of Avraham Avinu, the world was created. That means that when the world was created, there was still something missing. You needed Avraham Avinu to finish, to perfect Brias HaOlam. What is Avraham Avinu? Avraham Avinu is the first Yid, the first one who believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom. Emunah in the Torah we find the first time by Avraham Avinu. V'hamin b'Hashem v'yachshaveh alei tzedakah. This is the first time that the word Emunah is mentioned. He believed in the Rabbeinu Shalom. And therefore we Yidden are called Maminim b'nei Maminim. We are believers, the son of the Maminim. Our Emunah traces all the way back through Har Sinai till Avraham Avinu. From Avraham Avinu, we inherited Emunah. Every Yid believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom. And without that every Yid believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom, subconsciously at least, so Emunah becomes by him a fact. He believes in the Rabbeinu Shalom. So what's the mitzvah of Emunah? That we believe. But le'idach gisa, how come we know Yidden who don't believe? Why are there Yidden who don't believe? So we have a kasha. That kasha is subject to a teretz, because there are certain things that are mukhrach. It's absolute. It must be that way. And if you have a kasha, it doesn't mean that you have a pircha. It's only a kasha. The Rosh gives a klal that wherever the Gemara asks a kasha and the Gemara remains kasha, that means that there's a teretz there. So you have a kasha. Von der Kasha starbt man nicht. A child, because of the experiences in his life, knows that everything, if you would release your grasp on it, it will fall down. A ball, open your hand, it'll fall down. A glass, open your hand, be careful, it'll fall down. So he knows that everything falls down. So if you're going to bring him a helium balloon, with a Mazel Tov balloon, and who see that the helium balloon goes to the ceiling, he has a kasha. But that doesn't mean that things don't fall down. They still fall down, but he has a kasha. So we'll answer that kasha, Emunas Yisrael. But we are children of Avraham Avinu, and from him we yarshened our emunah. So every Yid actually believes in the Rabbi Yisroel. And there's a certain spark of emunah in every Jewish heart which can't be extinguished. The spark of emunah. Yes, Hashem, next Tuesday we'll elaborate on that and try to answer the kashas on this. Danke schön, have a flash.